Welcome to Local Gods. My name is Marco Liu.
And I'm James Han.
And today we have Chef Tue Nguyen, aka Twaydabae. Woo! Welcome, Chef Tue. Restaurateur, entrepreneur, book writer, author. That's forgetting my English. Author, correct, and influencer, right? So just jumping straight into it, with your restaurant, Didi, how long have you guys been open at this point?
It will be 2 years in July.
Wow.
Crazy.
2 years.
Have you guys gone?
I have.
Oh, not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
We'll need to make sure we
Yes,
gotta do your
absolutely.
homework.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Damn, why you grilling me? I don't go out that much. I need to get out more though.
There you go.
Yeah. I just play volleyball.
Yeah. 2 years in the restaurant industry is like a lifetime, right?
It's so crazy. Especially in LA too. On La Cienega. Like,
yeah.
I can't. It's still very surreal.
It is surreal because like you're right next to Poppy, like one of the.
Our kitchens are actually connected.
Oh no,
Yeah.
kidding! Wow, yeah. So like it's one of the trendiest spots in LA. Like not just that area, but your restaurant specifically.
Yeah.
And I think what I just because I'm not sure how else to bring this up. What is it like sharing your cuisine and your culture to all these white people?
I love that. It was very straight to the point.
Yeah.
I think it's really exciting, and that was one of the many reasons why I was super excited to have a Vietnamese restaurant in West Hollywood where it's not so common.
Yeah.
Just to introduce people to, Vietnamese food that's more than just pho and banh mi.
Yeah.
And also Vietnamese food that's from a newer generation, because for me, I always try to do my best to honor my tradition, but I don't let those traditions like
Confine you.
confine me.
Yeah.
And I'm still willing to, evolve and learn. And it's just a whole process of just telling my story through my food. So it's like, of course, it's not going to be traditional Vietnamese food, but it has the heart of Vietnamese food.
I think one of the coolest things I saw, especially in that first year you opened it, was you weren't like necessarily insulting people, but you were definitely talking back. You were clapping back at people that were saying it's too expensive. It doesn't remind me of my mom's food. It doesn't remind me of Little Saigon food.
Yeah.
But you came at it in a way that was both funny but also honest.
Yeah, because it's not supposed to taste like, this is not your mom's restaurant.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to taste like her food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And I always raise this question of like, why is it that when you think about Vietnamese food, it has to be this cheap eats? It has to be this, like $10 bowl of pho. Actually, that's a pretty good deal for where we're at right now.
Yeah,
Like
it's pretty
$10
good.
bowl of pho.
That's from like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people think of it as, and like the dirtier the better, or I just hated that connotation, because even in Vietnam right now, there are levels, there are tiers of different types of food that you can get. You can get street food, you can get a really nice sit down restaurant. And so I'm like, over in America, I feel like there's only this one perception of what Vietnamese food is and can be, and then they just like stay there. They don't really go out of that norm or that box. And I feel like it was really fun to be able to do something that's not, a pho mom and pop shop, because it's not like, I'm a young girl in LA that loves to go out. I wanted to go out to a place where it has food that I like, and it's also a vibe, because most of these LA restaurants are just vibes.
Yeah, and not good food.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Sad reality.
Yeah.
I hate that.
But I love how you bring that up, because it's such a touchy subject, especially among Asian Americans, because like a lot of times, don't you feel like your biggest haters are actually people that look like you?
1,000%.
That's so sad.
1,000%. Like, I think for me, when Didi first opened, that was felt the most, like as the hate from my people, because it was like I feel like it was mostly people that, like left Vietnam to come over here and really wanted to stick to the tradition and honor those traditions. And I feel like it's a little bit more difficult for them to kind of overlook the fact that it's not quote unquote traditional, and it's, you know, like, why am I paying this much for like a food that my grandma can make or my mom can make? And it's like, that's not the point. Like, the point is like this experience that you're getting, and also a new perspective of what this kind of food can be. And it was just difficult for them to see that because, again, it's that traditional mindset. But if you go to Vietnam right now, modern day Vietnam, every time I come back, there's always something new to try because food is always evolving. And especially with social media nowadays, things happen and spread so fast that like trends, like they catch on, especially in Vietnam too. So it's like, they're so open-minded over in Vietnam, but over here it's like, it's so rooted in tradition. They want to hold on to that. And I feel like there's a fine line there.
Yeah. Well, so like with tradition and fusion, what's the conversation with like Vietnamese food nowadays? Is it like, well, kind of like, or what I'm trying to ask is like the fusion that is popular. Is there something in that, I guess I'm a little ignorant right now. I'm trying to ask like, what's like,
I know what you're talking about.
Because, like what's good fusion?
In Korean food right now, whether it's in Koreatown or in Seoul, you'll see a lot of cheese on stuff. And like a lot of people will complain about how much sweeter it is compared to how it used to be. So how has Vietnamese food changed from what you've observed, especially over there versus here?
I think over here it's very one-dimensional.
It's almost a time capsule, right? Like when people immigrated from the 80s or late 70s, it's just stuck back then.
Yeah. And then now when you come back, there are things that are reminiscent of my childhood when I was growing up there. But they're also implemented in new ways and just like new ideas, new things that are attached to that original idea that it's exciting to try, you know? Yeah. So I don't know, like, I guess it's mostly street food for me.
Wow.
Yeah. Like a lot of street food gets like trendy, so then it catches on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like this is going to be such a fast-moving conversation because we're already getting into your trip to Vietnam. So is this an annual thing?
It is an annual thing.
So basically anyone can sign up and join Twaydabae's like tour through Vietnam?
I would say yes, anyone, but we do have a screening process. So anyone can sign up and like can pay for the trip, but there is a screening process that we go through to make sure that there are no weirdos on the trip. And honestly, most of the people that have been on these trips have been girls that are my age. And
yeah, I can see that.
They trust me enough to take them around.
Okay.
And I honestly, I surround myself with just like a team of like women, and so I would rather have women on my trip than like a man. You know what I mean?
That makes sense. Like a girls' trip versus like having to kind of balance things
up a little bit.
Yeah, and like this, how long is the trip typically?
Typically, it ranged from like 10 to 14 days.
Yeah, a lot can happen in 10 to 14 days.
A lot can happen.
Especially in Vietnam.
Oh, yeah. And especially when you're traveling.
Yeah. But I did some research and I know that you have experience with this stuff since a young age because weren't you a lieutenant governor for California 42nd District for Key Club?
Me, whoa.
We're trying to do some Nardwuar.
Where did you dig?
Shout out.
Maybe?
Where did you dig? Where is this information?
Shout out to Frank Lay. He's a friend of mine that I used to work with together at Brodard. So like I used to bartend at Brodard for a few years.
What?
And so one of the young homies, Gen Z.
I'm so blown away.
Yeah, he was a peer. But you've never heard that before, right?
No. Oh my God. I feel like that's like the deepest, darkest secret.
Go Arctic Foxes, right?
Stop!
That's the mascot.
Wow.
That's the mascot. But like, my point is like you've had a lot of experience creating community and leading folks on a common purpose.
Yeah.
So that I honestly, like when I saw that you were doing these trips, I was like, wow. Like not only doesn't make sense given your skill set, but a lot of people that are influencers or other public figures, like they wouldn't even consider doing that, right? Like I feel like it's like it would be seen as way too much risk and way too many issues that would be involved? Like, why are you
honestly,
doing it?
So for me, it has always been to introduce people to my culture. And that's why I share these recipes from my cuisine. And what better way to really show what my culture is than to actually have people there? Like, how does it smell? Like, what does the food taste like? Being there, I can sit here all day and tell you all the tales of Vietnam and what it's like to be there. But once you're there, it's a feeling that I can't describe to you. And so that's why I did the trip. Like, it wasn't my intention to make this trip to make money off of it, because honestly, the first 2 years, I lost money doing it.
I'll bet.
You know, I lost money because I priced my trip at a very reasonable price to where it's like just enough to cover cost. And then that's it. Like, if everyone, and then like on top of that, I can pay my team as well. So once that's taken care of, like, I don't care about anything else. Like, we're good. So I lost money the first 2 years, and it was the third trip where I actually started to make a little bit of money. Yeah.
To make it worth your while. And
yeah, because my team was like, my manager, he was like, we have to make money this year or else it's not going to be worth it. But I'm like, yes, okay. And then I was able to just like increase my price just by a little bit, just so my team can also like get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there something in your international travels that you've learned that is just like something you can only experience while being overseas, out of your comfort zone? Like, what's something that...
I mean, traveling with people is a whole thing. Like, you will learn a lot about people, what their tics are, how they are. And so I feel like with social media, it's like if you put the phone down, you're away from that world, right? But on this, it's people get to see me every single day. People get to see me on days where we had to wake up hella early and I don't have time to put makeup on, or like a fit. And now I just look like I'm not Tue. And then
this is not why I signed up.
and then all that facade of like, oh my God, it's Tue goes away. And then, but what I find really beautiful about that is like they strip down this image that they have of me, of this perception that they have of me, and they actually get to know me like on a personal level. And it feels really, really like that's a connection that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah. I agree. I feel like every time I travel internationally and meet people, some of these people have become like closer friends because we met and connected in this strange place out, outside of our home.
So cool.
Versus just meeting in LA or back in the States.
Bonding.
It's so cool. Yeah, it's like a cool bonding experience.
Yeah.
So most of the people that are on these trips, are they of Vietnamese descent, like they're second generation, or is it a mix? Oh.
It's a mix. It's people that, like left Vietnam from a young age like me, or have never been to Vietnam, or wants to reconnect to their family through, like this trip to Vietnam to have like a better understanding. There's a lot of reasons why people sign up on these trips, and it makes me feel like, wow, this is really cool that, friendships are forming and bonds are built, and you're also, like having this intention throughout the trip. Because like, honestly, I can sit there and plan the best trip of your life, but if you don't have the intention to really enjoy it's not gonna happen, so like I give props to these people coming in with like a really positive mindset of like, I'm gonna have the best trip. Yeah.
You're like an unofficial ambassador of the U.S. to Vietnam.
That's what I'm saying. The Vietnam Tourism Board, they're tripping.
They should be giving you money.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like Thailand, they be flying all these Thai influencers out, and I'm like,
cut the check.
Come on. I don't want to step on no toes. It's just Vietnam is a little bit.
Speak your truth.
No, like a lot of times, like the government in Vietnam doesn't want to be, filmed, recorded, or like talked about in a certain way, and so a lot of times, like, even in movies, like half of the Sympathizer was filmed in Thailand, or most of it was filmed in Thailand, but it looked like it was filmed in Vietnam. Yeah. But it's because they couldn't get permission to film in Vietnam. I'm like, that don't make no sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if the government of Vietnam or even a lot of Vietnamese people realize you may be I'll just straight up say it. You're probably top 5 most famous Vietnamese Americans.
Come on.
I'm thinking Karuche. I'm thinking Taiga. Okay, Karuchi. My bad.
Karuchi Tran.
Karuchi Tran.
Thank you.
Taiga.
Michael.
Yeah. Okay. And then
I don't know if that's his name. Michael Nguyen. Is it Kevin?
Dustin Nguyen and
true.
Yeah. Like I can't name too many other.
Michelle Phan.
Okay. You know. But like you're definitely top 10. And I think the fact that you're doing this.
Crazy. It went from top 5 to top 10.
All right. We put on blast on my own podcast.
Yeah. Damn.
All right.
Got snuff out.
Okay. But getting back to
Tila Tequila.
Deep cut.
We don't talk about her anymore. We don't talk about her no more. Yeah, take us on just like a broad itinerary of the trip. Like what happens on the trip?
Oh, a lot happens. But what usually happens is first day you get in and there's like a welcome dinner. And that's where you basically meet everybody, kind of like set the tone of
orientation
things. Kind of orientation, yeah. Second day is always like a street tour of Saigon. And then at that night, I usually do a pop-up. So I usually come.
You're doing business while you're on this trip? Wow.
I mean, it's business and business. Yeah. Like I gotta make my time worth it. Like I gotta do multiple things. I have a lot of shit I need to accomplish.
For sure.
No, but I host a pop-up as well. So then after that pop-up, we usually do like a Mekong Delta trip.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then
a Mekong Delta trip?
Mekong Delta. So that's the biggest delta in Southeast Asia, and it runs like all throughout Southeast Asia.
Oh, there's like a riverboat trip where you're just traveling. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and you just like learn about, coconut making or like coconut candy making. Like it's all of these things that what the locals do, right? And to show people that like you can have city life, but you can also like this is the life that like these Mekong Delta people live. And then we go up to Nha Trang, which is like a really beachy town, and we have like a whole boat day.
It's the Miami of Vietnam, I've heard.
It is, yeah. And then we go up north and we go to Halong Bay and Hanoi. And
beautiful.
Yeah, every single trip is different, but pretty much like similar experiences.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think this next trip though, like I'm gonna switch it up and like because I have to make it fun for me too.
Okay.
Like I can't just keep going.
Like
I need to make it like enjoyable for me because there's a lot about Vietnam that I haven't like heard of or learned about.
Like you're trying to get to like the countryside somewhere or
absolutely.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Discover some sort of like.
It'll be boring as hell, but like.
Okay. Like find a herb somewhere that's
there's also like a farming day in there, and honestly a lot of people, so after every trip I asked them like what they looked or what their favorite activity was, and a lot of them would say like the farming days because that's when you get to like bike through the rice paddies and like you really get to like get dirty with the dirt and like learn about how they plant stuff. Yeah, so it's cool.
Dirty with the dirt.
Feels like you're in a movie, as the kids say. Like
really
living that, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
What would be like on your trip? What would be like a successful like food spot that you take someone to? Is like, are you looking for them to like have this wild reaction, or is it they talk about it all the time? That's how you know, like, oh, maybe we should visit this again, or this was like a success.
If a place was really good, then it's like a collective like, whoa, this was a great experience, right? But if the place was like mid, then we'd also like share the experience too. Because for me, I'm also like trying these places out for the first time.
Wow.
Or if it's places that I'm recommending, I'm like, you guys have to do this. And then it's never like a situation where I'm forcing people to come with me. It's like, if you guys want to come. And then they'll have like groups and they'll go in different times. So it doesn't feel as if I'm like, everyone's like, so what do we do now? Yeah, it's very chill. Like we have a itinerary and we stick to it. But like if people want to go off and do their own thing, go for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you partner with any travel companies or any specific entities to do this?
So my first trip, I've done this 3 times. My first trip, I did it with Trova Trip.
Okay.
Actually, can I rewind that?
Yeah,
sure.
So my first trip, I did it with a company that does these travel trips with influencers. And all you need to do, like they take care of everything on the back end. And all you have to do is basically sell the ticket. So I'm like, okay, cool, easy. And when we were on the ground, I realized that that was a really bad idea because that company was just using another like travel agency in Vietnam to make like all of the itinerary. And so because we were working through them, the other company had to also go through them in order to like communicate. And while we were on the ground, it was really difficult for us to communicate and get answers from because of the time difference. And so they were pretty useless.
Yeah.
And then the second trip came around and I decided to invest some money in on the back end to, you know, work on how I can set up a website, have all of this information and like accept payment and all of this stuff. And then reach out to the travel agency in Vietnam and work with them directly. And from there, that was the best decision ever because I was able to also make more money. Yeah.
This seems like a really smart way to do it because I think a common complaint I personally have is like there's a lot of tours through Asia where they're not necessarily showing you the best of everything. They're showing you the stuff that's like, well, you're supposed to see all the tourist traps. But specifically for food, they might take you to a spot that might put more money in the tour company's pocket, but it's actually not like great food.
Exactly. And so like while on the trip, like we'll have dinners planned and stuff like that, but then through just like exploration, we have this big group chat and we'll be like, oh my God, this place is fire. Like you guys have to go here. And then we'll like go and like try everything everyone recommends.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a fun experience.
So it's very real, very organic, and
Absolutely.
getting the best of the best that you can find while you're in Vietnam.
Honestly, yeah, because like you look at these lists and then like you gotta like divide and conquer.
Yeah.
You know?
That's facts.
You look at these like best of lists and it's like 3 number one things. So it's like, how do I have all the time in the world to do that? So then you divide and conquer and then you come back to the board and then like we decide which one's worth it.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So if you want to go to Vietnam and you've never been and you're not a creeper, sign up for
Don't be creepy.
Sign up for Chef Tue's annual trip to Vietnam.
Yeah.
Hey, but that means we can't go probably.
Yeah, like so are there any guys at all?
There are
Any normal guys?
Yeah,
that
no.
go?
There are. So this past year, I collabed with another friend of mine, and it's the
Chef
first.
David, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it was the first time that I like partnered up on this trip with, and honestly, there was more guys, but having another person there was so helpful because. It wasn't just me taking on all of this energy and taking on all of the like I have to like be here at all times, you know, like I can like go and get a break
Yeah.
and not like be on the trip and just like kind of wind down and then he'll like take over and
Co-parenting
basically we did great co-parenting. Yeah.
with like 50 kids or whatever.
It was like 40 something, yeah.
That's a huge group.
It's
Oh my God.
massive.
Or a 10 to 14 day trip, like I can't imagine.
Ooh, okay. So when it comes to managing or leading a big group, I'm just curious, is there like a thing you do to make sure that you can set order? What's something you make sure you do to like keep things moving along, you know? Because 40, that's a lot of people to try to manage.
Yeah,
You know?
so I have a tour guide that works with me, and then my management brings on his assistant. And so their goal is to make sure that all bodies are on the bus or like everyone is where they're supposed to be. And little things that are logistics, like they'll take care of. And I just do my job and just provide people with a fun experience.
Hosting.
Yeah, hosting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very helpful.
Have a team. That's
super important.
Yeah, have a team. Have a good team that cares about the trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Ray Hughes, by the way, because
Ray Hughes management.
your manager is
Best
like
of the
some
best.
best. Yeah, like I would say he is among the best managers I've seen in LA. So
Yeah.
yeah. You're happy with like does he go on the trip too?
Oh, he's there.
Oh, he's there.
Absolutely.
That's so cool.
He's there. He was there. Like, he was in the mix the first year, but then second and third year, he was like kind of out of the mix because he was like, because one, it got like really crowded, and two, like he already did those activities. So he's like, I'll sit back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but like after the activities, like we'll grab dinner or like we'll do stuff that's not in the itinerary. Yeah.
Got it.
But he's the best, man.
Awesome. Pivoting a little bit.
Wait, how do you know Ray?
Well, talent management, just working in the film industry.
Everyone
So
knows
that's-
Ray.
Everyone.
Why did,
everyone
why
does
did
know
I
Ray.
ask that?
Yeah. But like pivoting into like the timeliness of this conversation, this will air on April 30th, which is
Okay.
50 years since the end of the Vietnam War, the
Yeah.
Fall of Saigon. I think as someone that was born in Vietnam and came to the States at like 7 or 8.
8.
Yeah. How do you like make sense of all this? Because I think like the Vietnam War obviously had a crazy effect on Vietnam. Like it was a crazy and tragic experience. And even for the United States, I would say it changed America forever.
Yeah.
So as a Vietnamese American that truly has a foot in Vietnam and a foot in America and organizing these trips, like what does that make you think now that it's like 50 years since the Fall of Saigon?
That's crazy that it's been 50 years.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know what your extent, like where your knowledge is when it comes to the Vietnam War, because I don't know, the Americans don't really teach you what really truly
The
happened.
other side, yeah.
Yeah. But the first year on my trip, I made it on the itinerary to go to the War Museum because I really wanted people to like see what this place is for what it is, and how it really like came to be, because it's really impressive how much we've grown through all of what we've been through.
Yeah.
And it's like you can still see remnants of like the war, but what came out from that was like, I don't know, it's just this energy that, like I said, I can't be explained. But when I went to the War Museum, that was the heaviest place that I have ever stepped foot in. And
Like sacred almost? Did it feel like...
it was just so graphic.
Oh.
Oh, they would show photos
wow.
of
It was
atrocities.
Yes.
Oh, man.
But it was because like those are real things.
Yeah.
Those are real situations that happened. They had garments, they had, just guns, like everything that you can think of from the war. And it's just like, I'm glad I did that, but it was like a little bit too much. But if you do have time, like in Vietnam, I think it would really be beneficial to like go and see that for yourself. Because it's just something that you don't really, or it shouldn't be glazed over, that it's just like, oh, it's just like this war, and then it's a lot more than that, and there's still people that's affected from it today.
Yeah.
So
Like children affected by Agent Orange.
yeah.
Or like at this point, not children, but like adults.
No, children.
Oh, because the after effects.
Yes.
Still?
It's like in your body.
Wow.
And
Crazy.
as if you keep on producing those eggs, like yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, what's something like you've learned about yourself visiting the War Museum or being in Vietnam so much?
Myself.
Yeah. Like, is there something about yourself that just got more fortified, or you're like,
I found out that I'm a very curious person, and that's why I decided to do like those things. But at the root of it, I'm just like, I think this goes back to being from Vietnam and not really being aware of what it meant to be Vietnamese until I came over here, trying to learn about myself through American customs, but being a Vietnamese person at heart, like that was really confusing. And so through it all, like I think I'm just naturally a very curious person that is still learning about myself. And that's like one of the things that I use to learn about myself, is just learn more about my culture and where I came from.
Do you find that there are sometimes difficulties interacting with other Vietnamese Americans where they were raised with a very particular view of the war versus, like, I think in Vietnam, it's a very different view, right?
Yeah, yeah. So growing up in Vietnam, I didn't even know that there was another flag for Vietnam. All I knew was the red flag with the yellow star. That was the only flag that represented Vietnam for me. And when I came over here, there was an assignment that I had to do where I had to paint or color the flag of where I came from. And so I drew that.
Yeah.
And the fact that my uncle at the time that I was living with, he was so furious. Like, he was so upset that I did that flag, but it was like, I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know that there was another flag. He also didn't even tell me he was just like upset that I was using that flag, but I didn't know. And then growing up in Vietnam, I also like, I didn't realize that this wasn't a normal thing, but every single classroom has a picture of Ho Chi Minh in the front of the classroom, and
Like
you would
above the chalkboard or something?
yes, yes,
It's a
Right next to the
communist
clock.
country thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And every morning you would have to like have this chant or like sing to him or something. And he was just it was like as if he was like watching over us as we're like just in the classrooms. And just like little things like that that I thought was a normal, wasn't normal. And then when I came over here in public school, I was like, oh, you don't do that? You don't get up and say hi to every single adult that comes into the room? You don't have like, actually the American flag thing is pretty similar.
Sure.
But yeah. And then I was like, okay, well, there's a lot of things that were different. And I feel like, sorry, now I forgot what the question you asked me was.
That's great. Honestly, your answer, like it's even more visual than what I imagined.
Okay, good.
But like, to ask the question another way, have you had conflict with Vietnamese Americans when it comes to how Vietnam is represented and basically conflicting histories? Because some people will say like, I love Vietnam, but not the current government, or, you know, they'll support South Vietnam and the three-stripe flag, but for them to see the red flag with the yellow star, that's like almost seeing like seeing a Nazi flag for them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've only ran into like a few people that were raised like with a very traditional mindset, and it's like every time there's like a, you know, like a red Vietnamese flag that I use, or like the emoji, he'll like call me out and he'll be like, don't do that, don't post that. And it's like, I get it, I understand, but it's just like, you know, yeah. Give me a different emoji. I don't know, man.
That's the best answer.
Like, fuck.
Apple, give us
What am I
the
supposed
South
to do?
Vietnam flag
Jesus.
emoji.
I just
Come
want
on
peace.
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Wow.
So, again, 50 years after the fall of Saigon, if you had to make a pitch or like explain why it's important for Vietnamese Americans to go back to Vietnam, how would you say that?
Wow. Make a pitch. That is so different than what you remembered. And I think being able to see the place where you left in shambles and to see it flourish and grow and have so much life, I think will really change their perspective.
That's profound.
Yeah.
That's profound. I think, like, just speaking off the top of my head, I don't know if you know Speed, the YouTube streamer, but he's currently on this like tour of China, and it's blowing people's minds because I think a lot of people think China is a certain way, but then they're seeing how like almost everything is better there than it is here in the States. And that's true for a lot of Asia, where it's like everything is more efficient, everything is cleaner, the food is better, and it's cheaper.
Like, what? Why are we here?
Yeah.
The great experiment, huh?
Yeah. But going back to your restaurant experiences, I think it's great that you're a living example of how a lot of Asian Americans specifically, they have this hidden self-hatred and like self-colonization where they think like, oh, things that are mainstream, aka white, are necessarily better or they're like culturally superior, right? Which is by nature white supremacist. But you're showing that like, no, like things that belong to us, not only is it special, but it's good, it's valuable.
Yeah. And I feel like if I didn't spend those first 8 years in Vietnam, I wouldn't have that mindset of being proud of where I came from. Because I feel like at 8, it's like that, at that sweet spot where you're really like forming an opinion, right? And so when I came to America, they threw me right into public school without knowing any English, by the way. And it was so difficult for me to just make friends and communicate. But
They didn't have ESOL for you?
What happened?
They didn't have ESOL or
ESL?
Yeah.
oh, whatever they call it here.
Sure.
Look, I'm not from California.
You saw it?
Yeah.
What's that stand for?
Where you
'Cause
from?
I'm from Maryland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, East Coast. ESOL or ESL, I guess.
Yeah, ESL.
I don't know what it stands for, but
Yes, they had ESL, but where I moved to, it was a predominantly Hispanic area. So even though they had ESL, it wasn't informative for me.
I see.
Yeah, like to me.
Oh, it's ESL for Spanish speakers, not for
Yeah.
That's actually hilarious.
So oh, I just registered that.
Yes.
Oh my
So I'm like, thanks for this information, and I don't know what to do with it. So I learned English through watching a lot of TV and just like reading. Sorry, what was your question again?
Well, what shows or like?
Yeah.
You remember what shows you were watching?
Oh, I mean, I watched a lot, but it was like mostly SpongeBob.
Wait, you're from the
is a great
SpongeBob
English
era?
teacher.
Absolutely.
Okay, snap.
What?
I don't know. I don't know what people watch. Some people don't have cable.
And then I watched a lot of Anthony Bourdain for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah,
tight.
but it was
Great.
because I was flipping through the channels one time, and it was like Vietnam, like just shown. It wasn't him yet. It was just like Vietnam, and I was like, I know that place, and it was so cool because I'm like, this is the first time I'm seeing Vietnam on TV. That's not about like the war or like talking negatively. It was just like showing people food and like how the markets are like and stuff. And so I was like, this is really cool. And then I started watching his shows.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Yeah,
Rest in peace.
legend.
So is that kind of also what informed your start as
Oh
an
wait,
influencer?
no, I'm
Or-
sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm back. Okay.
Okay,
I'm back. So I think it was the ignorance of me not knowing English that allowed me to just kind of like block out what people would be saying to me. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever had a lunchbox moment. I feel like most Asian kids do. But
we were like, ew.
but instead of being embarrassed, I was just like, I felt so sorry for those people that like
Oh, wow.
didn't want to try this food because that sandwich that they're eating does not look as good as this thit kha that my mom made. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And so it was like having that experience kind of just shifted a lot of perspective for me. And I never understood why like people were shy to speak Vietnamese or like shy to like, I thought it was really cool that like I could talk in Vietnamese in front of my friends to my dad and them being impressed that I speak another language. Like,
True.
You know? Yeah. So I've always felt like this appreciation towards the culture.
For sure. Thit kha is like braised pork, so
Yeah.
it does look better than a ham and cheese sandwich. So
Come on now.
Lunchables.
it's the reality. But
I wanted those Lunchables so bad though. Like it was so cool to see like that concept. I've never seen it before. So I wanted to try. That's
why we love
and then when I
charcuterie boards.
Yeah, and then when I tried it, it was just like this is
disappointing.
good.
Cold
Damn.
ham.
Like you guys are eating this?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
Where's your nutrients?
For sure.
How are you surviving?
Not much nutrients in Lunchables. That's
Yeah.
For sure. I do think that like a big part of the whole experience, like you coming like at age 8 from a different country, it's like you had a different operating system compared to your average American kid, especially Asian American kid.
Yeah.
So you could recognize and value your home culture compared to your new environment, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's really cool. I feel like for me, I grew up kind of hating being Korean, you know. So I
Why?
well, me growing up in Maryland, I was one of like 10 Koreans maybe that I knew in elementary, middle school, and then like handful of Asians, you know. So I was around not my kind, you know. So I just
Was it mostly white people or also other people of color?
well, I grew up mostly around like Black and Latinos.
Same.
Latinos, yeah. But I don't know. It's not like I felt like more accepted by one or the other per se. It's just I always felt like an outsider. And I think because my parents didn't really have the language to help guide me through it, my dad and my parents kind of had like, you know, well, they'll never understand us, you know, that's why you got to present yourself a certain way. Don't ever, you know, make sure you're competent, make sure you dress in a way where no one can disqualify you. It's like kind of like
I grew up. So when I first came over here, my aunties and uncles that were already here, they were also giving me the advice, and then they also gave me the advice to change my name to an American name, and I went by my American name for the longest time,
which was
Amanda.
Oh, whoa, that's like
You
yo.
still use that name ever?
No, that's her Finsta. It's
Amanda.
Okay.
But I went by Amanda up until high school.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And now that I come back to Oxnard, my friends would call me Amanda. Yeah.
Whoa.
That's life.
Seeing her as Amanda is like so different.
My at name
That's
before
crazy.
Twaydabae was Shamanda.
Shamanda.
Shmanda.
Shmanda.
Bring that back
Shmanda.
for a Finsta or something, dude.
Oh, no.
That's kind of fire.
But then as soon as I changed it to Twaydabae in high school, it stayed ever since.
That was the correct branding decision.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That
It rhymes
was
better.
when my life started. That was peak.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's going back into like just your star as an influencer to writing, being an author of a cooking book.
Of a cooking book.
How do they call
A
Cookbook.
a cookbook? Sure. Being an author of a cookbook now and a restaurant owner, like, take us kind of through like a speed run of that journey. Like, what milestones were most meaningful to you, and like what are you most proud of over this journey?
So crazy. I feel like the journey really started, what year are we on? 2025, like 5 years ago in 2020. So going back to RHM, my management, Ray Hughes, we met in February of 2020 and we signed February 2020.
So at the start of the pandemic,
At the start. But we didn't know it was going to start.
Yeah.
We were just vibing out, you know? Yeah.
Crazy.
And so once I signed with him, he sat me down and he basically told me to write out a list of my goals, my aspirations, my dreams, even if it was like, it seemed unattainable at the time. Still just write it down. And so I'm just thinking of like all these things because up until then I was still making content and it was still food content. So I'm already in that space. I, went to culinary school. So I'm in the food space. And I'm listing out all of these things that I'm like, oh, I want a cookbook, possibly a restaurant, like just things like crazy. Like you don't have a restaurant in your 20s, you don't do that. And so just things that are like, okay, this is not gonna happen now, maybe like somewhere later down the line. So I just wrote down all of these goals and slowly but surely, like he was able to really help guide me move in a way where it's led with purpose and intent in my content to the point where I had a solid foundation to actually build a sustainable career out of this, because the goal is not to do, content and brand deals forever. The goal is to build something from this. Yeah. And so that was, where it started. And then March of 2020, I released my first ever like recipe video where I wasn't even like intentionally trying to give out a recipe, but everybody was home. It was it was locked down already. And it was the first time where my mom was home, my stepdad was home, my little sister, my little pug, like everybody was home. And it was a great day. Like the sun was coming in. It was beautiful.
Wow, you remember it as if it was yesterday.
Oh, this day, I'm telling you, like there was something about this day where it was so memorable for me. But even like looking back, I really wasn't like I need to do this in order for this to happen. It was just so natural and it felt so good. Like if you go back and see that video, it was like me in my pajamas. I didn't even wash my face in the morning, and halfway through I'm like changed and I look more presentable. And it's just like, it's that type of video where like I'm just at home, like we're shut down, like nobody knows what the fuck is going on, you know? And so I made fried rice for my family, and I made a video making the fried rice, and I shared it to TikTok, I shared it to Instagram, and it just like was this thing, and it blew up. And I was like, oh, maybe I should start sharing this type of content. And so recipe after recipe, week after week, I just like was making these recipes, and I was like, I'm really starting to build an audience here. And I think like I would say like a year later, or like a few months after, when we were allowed to go outside again, I wanted to do something that wasn't on social media. Like I wanted to have people eat my food in real life, because up until then, people were just like, oh, she's such a girl that cooks online. Like,
Yeah, we don't know if it's actually.
like, is it actually good, right? And so I wanted to have people come out and taste my food and meet me in person. And so I started to host pop-ups. And my first pop-up was a sit-down dinner, like a coursed-out sit-down dinner. And we didn't really know what the measure of success would be, because it was my first ever pop-up. And so we set a goal of 50 tickets. We're like, okay, 50 tickets. If 50 people show up, we're good. So we asked the restaurant to use it for a night. And as soon as we put up the tickets, we sold 350.
What?
And so now we're like, this restaurant can't fit 350 in a night. And so I'm asking this restaurant if I can have a second night. And so it was such a success where I got such a high from it. And I was like, I want to do more. I really want to. There's something here, and it's really fun because there's an idea. I just need to execute it, and then you go on. I'm not bound to like one place. And so I started hosting a pop-up for every single month of that year. I think it was 2020.
Did your pop-up?
No, 2022.
Did your pop-up have a certain name, or was it just Twaydabae?
No. No, it was just like Tue's pop-up. But like the first pop-up was called Chihai. And then the second one was with like my friend has a sushi spot, so it was like a sushi collab with Vietnamese flavors. And then my third one was a collab with Open Market, where the sandwich place, and it's delicious. We made a really delicious banh mi from my mom's recipe, so that was called like the Mama Dough pop-up or something like that. Cool. Yeah, and so it was. Every single pop-up was different in some kind of way, whether it was like the type of food I was serving or the service style. And so I got to play around a lot with different service styles. And then at the end of it, I think it was October of 2022, where I got reached out to from the restaurant that allowed me to used for my first pop-up. They were like, hey, like we love this journey that you're on, we love these pop-ups, like have you thought about doing, you know, like a brick and mortar? And I was like, girl, what? No, not at all. And those people are known as the H-Wood group, and they were like, well, we don't have anything Asian in our portfolio, and we want to partner up with you because that last pop-up you did here was great. And so the location where I did my first pop-up is now my first restaurant. So it's that whole thing is a very full circle moment for me. And then throughout all of that, throughout all the pop-ups, throughout building the restaurant, I was also writing my cookbook. And I was like, I was so stressed for the longest time because it was
sleep.
Right.
Barely.
Damn. It was like this looming thought always in the back of my head for like 3 years of like, bitch, get the shit done. Because I was doing so much. I was like planning the Vietnam trip. I was doing all these pop-ups, working on D, and it was like, Jesus, I'm just a girl.
Yeah.
I girl boss way too hard. Please give me a break.
That's not what people mean when they say girl boss. They want the fruit, but they don't want to do.
That's what I'm
the hard
saying.
work.
Yeah. Because people look at my content, they're like, she just makes recipe videos. How hard can that be? You try it out.
Yeah.
You try and
No, thank you.
you try it out.
Say it, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an old saying. It takes a lifetime to be an overnight success.
Yep.
But you're not even taking a lifetime. That's the crazy thing. Like in what 5 years, you went from pop up to brick and mortar cookbook, and you released like a sauce, didn't you?
A fish sauce.
That's crazy.
That's in stores.
Did that make your parents?
Oh,
super
that
proud?
was what did it.
Oh,
not the restaurant, not the cookbook. As soon as she saw the sauce
The Nook Mom. It's like, ooh.
in what was it, Thun Fat Market, the market where we would go from Oxnard to Orange County for.
Yeah.
The one where she would like get all of her groceries for the month from. As soon as she saw that on the shelves, I saw a tear being shed, and I was like, "This was what did it for you."
That's so sweet.
Yeah, it was just like so, because like she isn't really familiar with what I do in this social media thing. She just knows that like I can take care of myself. But once she is able to relate to the impact, it was really touching to her. Yeah.
Was it in like the newspaper? Like is there like a local
or like
No,
newspaper?
I wish I should have paid for a spot, huh?
eventually they'll recognize. They'll recognize.
No, but like having that in Thun Fat Market was like everything to her.
Wow.
Bro, my mom still shops at Twin Fat Market. In Chinese, we call it Sun Fa. So I guess the secret to pleasing your parents is to get a sauce into the supermarket that they shop
Honestly.
at.
Yeah. Just to do something where they can like know enough to brag about.
Oh, that's an easy brag. Yeah, that sauce you're using, that's my daughter's.
Yeah.
Nice.
Dude, it totally makes sense now because I've heard you in other conversations say that you don't like to give advice because it's hard to tell people given their individual situations. But for you, I feel like, yeah, there's so much of it is timing, so much of it is just hard work and, work ethic.
I think it's a lot of work ethic, but it's also a lot of direction.
Yeah.
And trust with my team and the people that I work with, because like going back to my management team, like really shout out to you guys because they go above and beyond their management duties and they make sure that your career is taken care of before any brand deals, before any of that. Like what
Those good managers. Yeah.
exactly, like what actually really matters at the end of the day, and what matters is how you are going to have a sustainable career from this.
Yeah.
Not no brand deals. I mean, those are great, but that's not the reason why.
For sure. Okay. I think, what's left to accomplish on your list? What are you
My
looking forward to?
big goal now, I feel like for me, I've been so like laser focused on chasing what I want. I think right now, what would make me feel like there's a purpose there would be to achieve something for my family. Like I want to bring a business, whether it's a restaurant or anything, a type of business where I can hire my family that's in Vietnam still, because my cousins are now, getting married and having kids. And even though they're college educated, it's still really hard to get a job, like a good paying job in Vietnam.
Competition is high.
If it's not even competition, it's like, if you're not connected and if you don't have money, like you don't really go far. And my family's not rich. I don't come from money. So I feel like if I'm able to provide them something that they can call their own and like really have ownership of that and decide where, like how much they want out from this, then like I would want to do that.
Wow.
That's like my goal, my long-term goal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Respect.
So I can like split my time there,
Oh, by
Always
Coastal
thinking.
International, absolutely. As such a public figure when it comes to Vietnamese food, are there like any battles you feel like are still being fought in regards to getting people to recognize what Vietnamese cuisine is? Because like, I'll be honest, like when I first heard the announcement that your restaurant was opening, I was thinking like, oh, thank God, because West LA Asian food is awful.
Yeah.
For the most part, like there's like no Asian food. Except
Yeah, I don't
for
go to the
Sawtelle.
West Side. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think all the culture.
I think there's like
Yeah.
no Asian food, but it's also like Asian food from the perspective of other Asian people.
Yeah.
For example, I live in Koreatown, and the amount of times where I've walked into a pho spot that's owned by Koreans, made for Koreans, it's like it's interesting. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's like it's definitely not that like.
You could say it's bad.
No.
He wants to say it so much,
it's
dude.
not.
You're
2000
itching
is
for
good.
it.
Are you saying Pho 2000 is good?
I'm not saying that, but it's good to somebody,
Sure,
right? It's good
that's
to
fair.
the owner. It's good to the people that is making this because they're doing it to their palate and what they like. And so for me, it's like if a Vietnamese person is not making it, it somehow doesn't feel like that flavor is there. But it's like an interpretation of it, you know?
Yeah.
I will say, like, my first time eating at DD, I was particularly impressed by your fried rice arancini, because I thought that was like a really playful.
Whoa, when did you come to
Bro,
DD?
I came out to support within the first few months.
I feel like, well, because the fried rice arancinis aren't on the
currently on the
official.
menu,
Have never been on the official
Oh,
menu.
really?
But it's been on the late night menu. So I'm like, have you gone only for late night?
Yeah.
Oh,
We need
wow.
to
Exposing Mark's secret life.
I know. I'm like, I know everything about it. What's up?
We'll have to do a proper meal there.
Yes.
What are the must orders at DD?
Oh, must order the shrimp toast. One of my favorite things there. And then there's two salads I love. The Caesar.
Very Vietnamese.
I mean, I put chicken skin. I
Okay.
put fish sauce. Like, it's Vietnamese-ify.
Okay.
And then there's a chicken beef salad. You should definitely get the garlic crab noodles, DD fried rice,
Damn.
maybe whole snapper. But for me, I love a steak. I love a good steak, and so I get the ribeye.
Wow.
Yeah, the ribeye is my favorite thing.
Sounds
It's
delightful.
so fire.
That's crazy. And how often are you actually at the restaurant?
So in the beginning, I was there probably every day.
Yeah.
But now I feel like the cooks are pretty familiar with the menu, and I feel confident in not like having to like cover.
Yeah.
Not very often, unless I'm doing like R&D or building out a new menu, because we change our menu seasonally.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then showing the rest of the team how to do it.
Yeah. Running a restaurant is harder than making a film. Like my friend, our friend Brian Yang, the producer of Linsanity, said that the other day, and like it's like throwing a party every night.
Yeah, and you have to like, you can't even depend on your friends to like come out and support you like that, because it's like every night, relax.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
sometimes I even feel like bad for inviting them out, because I'm like, bro, I just invited you out. And I know how I am, because if it wasn't my business, I'd stay home too. Like I'm such a homebody. Like I just love enjoying my rent.
True.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, you have like a ghost kitchen concept that's coming out too, right?
So yes and no. Yes, a new concept, but it's not a ghost kitchen.
Oh, it's not? Okay. So
Yeah.
explain what, I'm not going to butcher the pronunciation, but what is this new concept?
So it's called Tam Tam Rice.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still trying to hear the tones.
Tam Tam Rice.
Yeah, we're
Tam
talking
Tam
about
Rice.
this before we got on camera, but I grew up speaking Mandarin, which has 4 tones. Vietnamese has 7, so sometimes I can't hear the tone.
Yeah.
But
So it's called Tam Tam Rice, and it's a menu all about celebrating broken rice plates. And the reason why I wanted to do that concept was because I was sick and tired of getting these broken rice plates with no broken rice. And I was like, what is going on? What is this
not real
narrative that
contam, or-
Yeah, what is this narrative that you guys are saying that like our rice is the same and you can use whatever rice for this dish? That's crazy. So you gotta take them all the way back and like educate people on these things. Like, this is why it's called broken rice. The grains of rice are actually broken from the milling process of the regular rice. And back then, the broken rice was used for the poor people. And the lower class people, and then the perfect grains of rice were for the kings, queens, and the upper class people. And then over time, especially after the war, it got really popular because it was popular in southern Vietnam, so Saigon. It was popular because it was delicious, but it was also affordable, and you can get a lot of it. So that's why it like became super popular in Saigon. It's known for the broken rice. And then when I came over here, super excited, always seeing like pho and rice plates on and vermicelli bowls on a Vietnamese menu. But then most of the time when I get a broken rice, it's never broken rice. And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Outside of Low Saigon and parts of SGV,
I don't
you
like
can't
that.
find the real thing. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't like that. So then so that's why I really wanted to have this concept. And honestly, this was a concept that I've had in the back of my head way before this opportunity even came. And so when this opportunity came, I was like, oh, easy. This is what I want to do, you know? And I was like, was that just me manifesting, like already like feeling like it's already gonna happen and like actually putting some thought behind it, right? Maybe. But when it happened, I was like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. And we did it. It's a collab. Well, it's a partnership with local kitchens, and it's similar to a ghost kitchen, but ghost kitchens, you can only like come in and pick up your stuff and you leave. This is a whole sit down restaurant with multiple different menus on the kiosk that you can order from. So it's kind of like a food hall, but in one place. Wow. And the menus that are curated are from chefs like myself, Chef Alvin Kailan. They're
nice.
looking at like
Amboy.
They're looking at to really build out a story behind these concepts, but also deliver really great, delicious food. They didn't want to just like have like, oh, the seventh wonder of the world like menu, where it's just like they pick random like top dishes from
tokenism.
And it's like they didn't want to do that, so they really wanted to like partner up with chefs that can like really truly tell a story about why this menu is here. And I really love that. And they are in kind of like lower income areas, or just kind of like not even lower income, it's more like suburban area, because most of the time like those areas don't really have access to like not anything like
they're food
fast
deserts.
Food. Yeah. And so like we wanted to just create affordable and delicious food. Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, my favorite things to eat in Vietnamese food would be like bánh xèo and cơm tấm. So like I'm looking forward to trying it. Will there be locations all over, or?
So there's 13 locations open now up in the Bay Area, up in the Bay and Sacramento area. Okay. And then in May is when the first LA location will be open, and it will be in Studio City.
Fire. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think Studio City. That's what they said.
They don't have great Asian food out there either, so they need it.
Yeah.
They need it.
I'm excited.
Very cool.
Yo, what's your heart tattoo? I just noticed it.
So
does that mean anything?
No, it doesn't mean anything. I got it.
Sick.
Half of it like was in Vietnam, and then it was like faded. And then when I was in Thailand after my Vietnam trip, like I was drunk and I was like, can this guy fix my heart? And so
so poetic.
I know. And then he comes in and then he like did like a really good job on this side, and then it was still fading on this side. But it's fine. It's a story.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. But
half your heart's in Thailand or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Besides Vietnam, are there places that you love traveling to and immersing yourself in?
Thailand.
Okay.
Man.
Got it.
Oh, hey, dude. Okay.
Dude, Thailand is a trip. I love Thailand.
Wow.
Anything goes.
Do you know Andy Rickman, the Pak Pak chef? Yeah, that's always been interesting to me, because like growing up, I wasn't the biggest fan of Thai food. I'm still not, but this random white guy opening restaurants in Portland kind of started this whole movement where there was some, like people recognize that there's northern Thai, there's regional cuisines, just like there are regional cuisines in Vietnam and China and Korea. And I think that really opened my eyes.
Yeah.
Where do you go in Thailand?
I love Phuket.
Okay.
I would say Patong Beach is my favorite beach to tan on ever.
Wow.
And then we have a boat day where we rent out like a yacht, and then we go to Phi Phi Island and we go to all the islands.
Wow.
And it's just, you know, paradise, really, like paradise. People there are so nice. The food is so delicious. The sun is scorching, and so I get a really nice tan, so I'm not grumpy. Like, it's just the life.
You don't like being more pale? You like the being more tannish?
The sun makes me happy, you know?
Vitamin D.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So is that in the future for your tour, like a Vietnam, Thailand two-step?
No, I'm gatekeeping. Thailand.
Nice.
Just like how I'm gatekeeping my hometown in Vietnam, because people are always like, I feel like Vũng Tàu, so Vũng Tàu is where I'm from.
Yeah.
They're like, I feel like this Vũng Tàu is like the secret part of the trip where we don't get to go on. I'm like, exactly. Like, I'm not about to take you to my childhood home for what? Like, that's, you know, like, there are some things that I'd like to keep to myself. And it's like, if you want to visit Vũng Tàu, I've made plenty of videos that you can like go and like watch for reference, but I will not take you to my hometown. No, like, me taking you on this trip is enough.
It's already personal enough.
Yeah.
Dang.
You don't want to give them too much.
Like, you're not about to go like do some incense for my grandma. You know, like, I'm not about to make you do that at the house.
Yeah.
It's fine. We're good.
Yeah.
We bonded.
For sure. So I think when it comes to like, and this is something I never hear people ask you about on interviews or podcasts, you're really into fashion. Like what assembles your aesthetic? What would you like when it comes to style, when it comes to how you put your outfits together? Because you definitely are very choosy about what you do. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for paying attention to that. But I've always been into fashion. I think because of my mom. She's super stylish, and honestly, she's probably the reason why I love being in front of the camera, because when I was younger, she would take a lot of photos. She set up a lot of photo shoots for me because one of her best friend is a photographer. And so I would have all of these photos of me getting dressed up and like having all of these experiences and looking back. And it's like, whoa, like you've always been so stylish. And no matter like, so I grew up poor, but it never felt that way because my mom always made sure that I was dressed well.
Yeah.
Right. And so throughout, like when I first moved out, it was kind of a transition for me to like, it's like, do I care about clothes enough, or do I care more about paying my rent where I'm living right now, you know? And so it was like, I went through a period of like not really caring about fashion or not like keeping up with things. But then I realized that that was the reason why I kind of like fell into like a slump of not feeling like me, because I was always, you know, like going out in sweats and a big t-shirt and just, I mean, I have my hair up right now, but it's like styled up, you know, like I would just like put my hair up or like wear a hat. And it was like more just like being presentable, but not so showing myself. And so I think it was more so recently when I actually started to like pay more attention to, and be more mindful and aware of like how I want to dress, and like did a whole like closet refresh of like, I don't like this. This was just a trend. I just bought this because it was just a trend. And so now I'm just like finding more pieces that I gravitate towards too, and that I think is cool.
Like, what about your denim? Is that like a custom patch, or I'm not familiar with that?
This is Loewe.
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 Oh, damn.
Come on now. You don't know the iconic Loewe pants?
Oh, that's right. That is like their.
I don't know what Loewe is. Wait, how do you spell that?
Loewe.
L-O... Oh, I'm ignorant. Okay.
I mean, but
I'll
earlier you asked
research.
me about my shoes.
I know about your shoes.
You're
but-
definitely a shoe guy.
Yeah. I mean, I guess so.
These are from Loewe. These were actually like they have it in different colors, but they're really known for these pants.
Yeah, I really like the embroidery. I was like trying to figure
for
out
me,
what that was.
it goes like below my knee a little bit, but if you're taller, it'll go like above or just like
Right on the
right at your. Like, I think that's where it's supposed to be, but it's fine.
Sick,
It works for you.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
yeah.
I actually had to go get them cut and
You know, like they have elbow patches. It's like a knee patch.
Yeah.
You know? It's that kind of vibe.
No, but my boyfriend's also in fashion.
Cool.
So a lot of times I learn about these new brands through him, because his job is a director of sales over at Complex. And so he brings on brands to Complex.
And he's always looking out for them.
Exactly. And so I'm like, okay, so, and whenever he sees like cool brands or emerging brands, he'll like send it to me. He's like, I think you'll like this, depending on like the stuff that
The
like I
stylist.
enjoy.
He's your low-key like a stylist for you?
I wouldn't say so. Like he doesn't.
I don't know about
He'll like pick out
He sources them.
he'll pick out like pieces, but then I'll put it together.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Wow, so you're really living that truth of having a good team around you and like really having that work ethic and surrounding yourself with people that are there for you.
Yeah, you have to. You really have to, because you can't do all this shit by yourself at all. Yeah, like I'm just a person. I'm a human being. I get burnt out, but it's like at the end of the day, if I have people around me that believe in me and that is putting in the work, I should also be pulling my end of the weight. My weight. Yeah, my weight. Pulling my weight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've covered like as much as I can think about in regards to your professional life and everything that you're doing. So we really appreciate the time that you've had with us, and then we do have a gift for you.
Oh, thanks for having me. What is this
Absolutely.
gift? Aw, wait, this is so cute.
An exclusive hat.
Okay.
This is for
I like
our
the color.
season 1.
Oh, it kind of matches. It matches
it
right
matches.
now.
Go.
Wait, it's kind of working right now.
Yeah.
No? We should.
This
yeah.
was completely unplanned.
Oh,
so
snap.
it worked out.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, we're not. Doing
Well, yeah, maybe.
You can do it.
But it definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
It's definitely giving
Yeah, it's
like
working.
color scheme.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
For
snap.
sure.
Yeah. Color scheme better than Severance.
Yeah.
Thanks. We always like to end with 3 questions.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So the 3 questions. Question 1: where do you consider home geographically?
Ooh. Geographically. Oh, I'm torn.
Oh, okay.
I would say Vietnam.
Okay.
That's the hard answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with that, you've done several tours there. What is the one spot, if you could just choose, for people to like must go? Do you have like a few restaurants?
Ooh, restaurants. I have a whole Google like list place. Can I give that to you guys? I don't know.
Well, we'd love to see it for sure, but if
Wait, let me look through it. And let me pick I hate when people ask me these because I'm like, I
Oh,
know the
no.
answer.
Okay.
But like, I just need to.
Or maybe it's better like a attraction or something to look at, or
Ooh.
if it's not food, then is it
Capybara
like,
Cafe. That I have
there's
to-
a capybara cafe.
Yeah.
oh, you just get to hang out with them?
Yes.
Wait, that's so cute.
Okay, hold on.
For sure.
I have.
While you're looking, how big are capybaras? Because they look like
They
they're, like-
range.
Oh,
they,
okay.
They,
So some
they
are small,
range.
some are big.
Yeah.
Are they like snuggly?
No.
No, they just get pet.
They look like they
Yeah.
have sharp teeth.
What? I thought these are.
They look like giant hamsters, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so there's this place. Oh, I'm going to give you a street food and I'm going to give you a recommendation for the best like sit down Michelin star dinner.
This is a chef answer.
Oh
Yeah.
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 So there's a place called Can Bum Ko Le, and it's one of my favorite soups. Cause pho is up there, but this is my top. It's like super pungent. It's with shrimp paste.
Oh.
It's with all of the things, but it's called Can Bum Ko Le, and it's in Saigon, and it's like a cart. Literally, it's a cart.
Okay. Real quick question, because this is like a big question among Vietnamese Americans. Bún bò Huế or pho for you?
They're both so different, but I would say Bún bò Huế.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And then the fine dining place is called Oryz, Oryz, Saigon. And that was one of the best coursed out, sit down, high end Vietnamese dinner I've ever been on.
Whoa.
It was courses after courses. So they took you on a trip. The menu is like a passport, and they take you on a trip from like northern Vietnam all the way down south of like all the iconic dishes in each region. And the way that they do it is just, it's so technical and it's so beautiful and visually stunning, but it is so delicious, and it will remind you of like that dish that they're talking about, but interpreted in more of a culinary arts way, which I really appreciate, because they're honoring that story and that tradition, but also being very creative with how they're putting it together. So I appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Our last question is, currently, what are you listening to? What's in your music rotation?
Music rotation.
Check the Spotify real quick.
I'm right.
Chef, I think you're the first one to actually pull up your actual Spotify on the show.
Yeah,
I've
this
been
is pretty cool.
Here, you can look through it. This was my playlist for the gym this morning.
Oh, snap.
Sometimes when I'm like just in a chill mood,
What do we see here?
Okay, we see Smokey Robinson.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm very like
eclectic.
lover girl
Oh,
in my
the
own world.
Delphonics.
Okay.
Barbara
Brown.
Mason. Whoa, you are an old soul.
Temptations. Whoa. Sam
Sam
Cooke.
Cooke.
I was like,
Bro.
oh, wow.
It's definitely like a Sunday playlist. It's
I
like
thought
a
that read the
Sunday
Dankers,
vibe.
but that's the Danliers. I can't read.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
The Sacred Souls. Wow.
Okay, so you're definitely into the classics.
yeah.
Are there any new artists or
SZA, definitely
SZA?
SZA.
Okay.
SZA's a big one. My girl Sailor. I don't know if
I've
you
been
have
hearing about Sailor.
Sailor. Oh my gosh,
She's been buzzing right now.
She's
Yeah.
fire. Like I
Okay.
love her writing. I love her storytelling. Her just visually everything. And she wears this black grill that is very controversial because people see a black grill and they're like, "What the fuck does she have in there?" But it celebrates Vietnamese women because back
Back
then
in-
we
yeah.
would the sign of like beauty or like wealth or something like that is black teeth, and so a lot of women would chew tobacco to blacken their teeth.
Whoa. Okay, I think I've seen. Yeah, I do like grills.
And
I
so
remember seeing
and
that.
so for me that was something really cool, and she just did like a karaoke with somebody and she wore like a full on Aoyai and it was really cool. Yeah.
badass.
So
putting a song?
Twee,
Of course,
Oh, true.
Tweet.
I mean,
Twee?
yeah.
She's been on tour. She's been killing it. Like she just toured all of North America, and now
Yeah.
she's in the UK.
Crazy.
Like
Yeah.
that girl is working.
We're trying to get her on the show.
Come on,
so,
Twee.
Twee,
Please.
your homie's on.
I'll
Come on,
force,
join
I'll
us.
force her to go on.
Yeah.
I'll be like, bitch, go on the show.
It's fine.
But okay, I mean, just to wrap things up, Chef Tue, people already know who you are, but where can folks who are not as familiar find you and your content, your restaurant, all that stuff online?
You guys can find me at Twaydabae on all social platforms, and my restaurant Didi is in West Hollywood, Los Angeles, 755 La Cienega Boulevard.
Hey,
That's so good.
Yo, you know
No
that.
one has ever listed an address before. That's so
Oh,
good.
that's so cool.
It's my restaurant. I have to
Yeah.
know the address.
Yeah,
True,
755 La Cienega Boulevard.
All right. Chef Tue, it's been an honor and a pleasure.
Wow.
Thank
you
you
so
for having
much.
me.
We hope to have you back in the future.
Okay, we'll see.
All right.
We'll see.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.